Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run7. How you doing? Today we're going to be going over a little bit of a smaller roster, and we're going to be showing off some mistakes that you want to avoid. I know anybody who sends me their defense picks does not want to hear their Defense Up episode start out that way, but that's just the way it is today. So starting off, oh wait, let's get into it. We grade on 5 different criteria. It's who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. You can look below for the description of the teams. Grab the slider and slide it so you see them up here in the window. If you want to skip ahead, these things run about 20 minutes. I don't like to take up too much of your time if you're looking for a specific team. Jumping into team number 1. This is a Heroes for Hire that's just a little baby one, just barely unlocked. And Apakakuta's roster has some of these smaller teams. This one is great because it's not over invested, and I can tell him what to do to make it work better. And actually, he's doing a pretty good job. Apakakuta, you are doing a great job. Only problem I see with this team is I'd like to see Iron Fist and Misty Knight change places, and then I want you to bring this team up to 400k and stop. 400k means that the team has to be attacked by an Infinity Watch or it won't fold. It's really hard to beat this team without Infinity Watch right now, or a Weapon X, which is around the corner. Right now, you're not doing any good. It's low enough. Somebody's just going to punch down and smash it. It will be annoying, but this is just like an underdeveloped Red Skull team or something. You can beat it with a big punch down full of garbage. I like, let's see, I think Fortifier on Luke Cage is a better choice than Healer. You can leave him as a healer, it's secondary, but he's pretty slow even on this team. I like Fortifier because he's going to die and revive a lot. And then you're going to go Iron Fist as a healer, or a secondary pick is Skirmisher. And then Misty Knight, Colleen Wing, and keep Wang Chung here out on the end. Shredded Cheese is a secondary target, and so you want to keep him as far away as possible in case they don't have the T4 on Nebula's ultimate. She'll start the chain from over here and go this way. There's also the possibility they could start over here and stop. Either way, you want these two guys as far apart from each other as you can. As is, you're doing okay. You haven't wasted any resources other than maybe this healer right here, and that's not even a big waste. I would definitely like to see you bring this team up to 400. If you are anywhere serious about war, you got to have them at 400. And then full stop for everybody. Everybody should just full stop at that point. Because once you get to 400, it doesn't matter. It's Infinity Watch, and somebody's going to have a big enough Infinity Watch to take it out. So just get them so they have to use it. That's all. Team number 2. Skillitary on defense. I don't like Skillitary on defense. Now, you are a newer roster, so this is something to do because you're probably not going to be developing Skillitary anytime soon. It's a bit of a luxury team, and it's prime. It's past its prime. I need to check and see if his passive works in war defense or not. Somebody leave a comment below if his passive works in defense or if it's just war offense. Otherwise, this is fine. It's a military team. It has some synergy and stuff. It's really underdeveloped. It's something to do. It's something to work on. It's a place to put these characters. Definitely get an ISO on her. This team isn't worth making war ready because you don't have enough development into it, enough resources put into this team. But when you do get this team up to something like 250, you're going to want to make sure to get them war ready. At this time, it's just a filler. I'm not even going to dock you for it. It's someplace to put these, and there's not really anywhere at your level that you're going to be doing anything with. Obviously, you could put in like Killmonger over here. You could put other military characters in here. You could put Black Widow in here, but I like her better on Wave 1. This is fine. I think you're doing okay. At your level, I think this is an A, actually, because you're not really wasting anything. Striker, Skirmisher, I like her better as a Raider, but whatever, 1 point, doesn't cost you anything to change it. Same thing over here. You could go Striker, so you get a double tap with him, but it doesn't really matter. His job in war is to spawn into the match. I do like this team better on offense than defense, but you're not going anywhere with this. So leave them be, and maybe a year from now you could develop them if you want, but by then, hell, they'll probably be broken up for a different team, the way things are going. So I am going to give you an A. It's just an underdeveloped space filler at your level. Team number 3. Here is the Coulson with Coulson with minions. And you have him as a Raider. This is the team he should be a striker on because of his basic. However, you want to have... let's see, you want to have... Yeah, Raider's fine on that, I guess. It doesn't really matter. Maybe Skirmisher. But yeah, leave him as a Raider. I'd like to see Fury in here in place of... what's her name? Jeez, we don't use her so much anymore that I can't remember her name. Operative. Use Fury instead of Operative. Use Fury as a Raider. Keep this guy as a Raider. You could change him to a Skirmisher, would probably help. Keep her as a healer. Then you want to change him to a striker on this team. That's his traditional Fury Coulson Minions team. Also, you should probably replace this guy with Assaulter. Assaulter adds crit damage and crit chance to this whole team. Way better than this piece of junk. Leave him at the bottom of your roster and don't touch him. Same thing with Operative, whatever her name is. She's forgettable. And then later on, you're going to build him into like an Inhumans hybrid, and then he will be a Raider. So this isn't a waste, actually, because at the high end, you switch him over to Raider to help put out vulnerables for all your other strikers who hit harder. Again, small team, just filling a spot. None of them are war ready. I can't recommend making any of these guys war ready. If you switch him to a striker, then I don't know. It's a tough call, man. Tough call. I don't like him as a striker, to tell you the truth, especially when he's going to be soaking up vulnerables that everybody else needs. So, yeah, definitely make her... Well, and again, you're going to get rid of her too soon. So maybe don't make any of them war ready and see where this team goes later when you develop it and use Coulson elsewhere. And depending on who else you're going to be using on this team, then you can decide which ISOs you want and which way to go. Again, filler team in the beginning. I'm going to give you a C. It's pretty meh. I don't like the ISOs that you're using for this build, and I'm not sure I like the ISOs on these characters for some of their other builds, so you're going to have to use a little bit of resources to bring these to war-ready levels if you use them on other builds. And right now, I think you just leave this team because there's better stuff to be working on. Team number 4, Kree Minions. Now, right off the bat, I think you're wasting Minn-Erva down there. I think you should go ahead and replace her with, I believe is it Riot Guard or... I don't know. It's the chick with the cape. It's the other minion. And then you want Cyborg over here to go with Ronin. Alternatively, you could also throw in Ultimus if you have him developed up at all. He's Kree and has some sort of synergies. But honestly, I like Ronin with all 4 minions. And then the Oracle's the worst of all the minions, I believe, for War and for Blitz. Because... he's not doing any damage and his heals suck, so forget about it. This team's not surviving 1 round, so there's no point in trying to give it longevity with a healer. Just get rid of them, get the other 2 minions in here, use Minn-Erva on a different team. Minn-Erva is a healer, he is a healer. I like him as a Raider, her as a Skirmisher, and him as maybe a Fortifier? You can keep him as a healer. You already got him invested as a healer. Leave him as a healer. That's fine. Doesn't really matter. Again, another junk team filling a slot. You're building these guys up to unlock Fury. It's a thing to do. It is what it is. It's nothing to get excited about. Later, you want to replace this with a better defense. For right now, it's okay. Change this 1 ISO, though, on Ronin. That's crap, man. Actually, no. Don't change it. These guys aren't worth changing their ISOs. Doesn't matter. Don't even make them war ready. Just leave this as a filler for right now. But if you are somebody else and you're building up this team and you want to make it war ready, he's a Raider, she's a Skirmisher, he's a Fortifier. He shouldn't exist on your roster, and she should be on a better team. So I'm going to give you a C for this. Again, it's not a terrible waste, but it is a little bit of a waste, and we need to be building better defenses than that. Team number 5, here's the Mercs with Shuri. Finally, we have a proper build. Unfortunately, we have improper placement. Let's swap places with Taskmaster and Riot Guard. Riot Guard can remain a Fortifier. I like him better as a striker, especially when you're running him as a Skirmisher. I like him as a striker on this team. Yes, he has lots of synergy with the Raider ISO, but on this team, you want him as a striker to help bring out the potential from your Taskmaster. On this build with Shuri, he should be changed to a striker also. Shuri's doing all the healing. You don't need him as a healer. So swap placement, change those ISOs. Everything else is fine. Bring this team up to like 300. If you don't want to do the Shuri build, then swap her out for Ultimus, but that's at the 400 and plus level. That's where you use Ultimus. Under 400, you want Shuri or just a straight Merc build. So, lots to be done there. I'm going to give you a C for that team. Your power levels are a little bit wonky. Shuri's making this team look bigger than it really is. You kind of want her to be one of the smaller ones, actually, because all she needs to do is survive 1 or 2 rounds and no one's really going to be attacking into her. So she's artificially inflating this number and having people punch down bigger than they need to on this team. Team number 6. This is a total trash hybrid team. I see what you're doing. You're taking some characters that have been invested in. You got Vulture. Vulture's whatever. I don't like any of the OG Sinister Six. I hate the hand, and I'm not a big fan of Ghost, even though I built her up. However, she's putting defense down on the team on turn 1, although she's kind of slow, so it doesn't happen very fast, and she's low hits. So if I came into this team, I'd take her out right away. You've got a tiny bit of synergy here. You got a tiny bit of synergy here. I mean, I think this is tech villain. Maybe get rid of him, throw in Ultron and Minn-Erva and have a villain tech team, I guess. He's rendering people under stealth, but again, he's so slow. And I don't like the way the AI plays his character either. I mean, the hand characters are just garbage. Get rid of them altogether. What I would like to see is, instead of doing this team with Doc Ock, I'd like to see you take... I'd like to see you take Vulture, since he's built up the most. Place Vulture in here with Doc Ock. Instead of Doc Ock, Put Doc Ock on a hybrid team. Make a villain tech team if you want to use Ghost somewhere. Depending on how much your hand is, I mean, you could go for the old school Hide the Toaster with Hand Sentry. He puts Ultron and his bots under stealth. Ultron summons his bots, and then Hand Sentry immediately brings them under stealth. It's a trick we used to use a long time ago, and at low levels still works. But this is just trash filler right here. Don't invest in any of these characters anymore. Maybe Ghost if you are trying to unlock somebody or use her in one of the lanes or something like that. She's the best of the Pym Tech team. The rest of the Pym Tech team kind of sucks. I'm not excited about this. You've got a pretty hefty investment. Like, he should be Raider. He should be a striker or skirmisher. She is a healer. He doesn't matter. I think you've overinvested in some of these ISOs, and they're not even war ready. She's the only one you got right, and she should be used on a different hybrid team. I like a villain tech team with like Minn-Erva and Ultron or something for your level. Scrap this team. I think it's a D. I think this team is a waste with Doc Ock. I'm telling everybody, get Doc Ock off of this team. There are so many different counters to this team that utterly destroy it. So we should be running the OG Sinister Six as a filler to use up the enemy's 1 point of energy. They will crush it in 1, but at least it's better than shield guards. And then you can use Doc Ock on a hybrid team like Emmarauders or like a Doom team or something like that, or a villain tech team. You know, it's a thing to do. This team is just, it's old news. It gets deleted just like Asgardians gets deleted. I really hope you don't have Asgardians on your defense. Hint, hint. Let's see. We got Mysterio over here. Is a skirmisher. Fine. He can also be a striker. He does some clearing effects on his basic. You've got Raider over here. That's the one I like. Make him war ready. You got skirmisher. That's fine. Make him war ready. Striker. That's good. Make her war ready. Might as well bring up their power levels, right? Make them bring in a bigger team to fight this with just a little bit of an ISO boost. It's not a top priority for your roster, but when you get other things done, you could throw those green ISOs on there just to get them more ready and make that number bigger. Yeah, so I think it's a big waste. I think it's a C. I think you should get Doc Ock off of here, and then you'll have like a good B filler team. All right, team number 8, Emmarauders. We're looking pretty good here. I like Mystique as a skirmisher. Yes, as a skirmisher. I also think that we should probably be changing places with Sabretooth and Mystique. I know she goes under stealth and keeps chain attacks from happening, but I like that evade that she gives to Sinister, and then Sinister spreads it to the rest of the team. I think it's a better use of the evade. Instead of on one person, you get to use it on 5. All right. Fortifier, we said skirmisher, raider, healer. Otherwise, you're doing pretty good. Your strife is way underpowered. He needs to be equivalent to these two to support the team. You can bring up Sabretooth. He's really good in a lot of places now that he had his Weapon X rework. So you've got some work to do. You're on the right path. I wouldn't bother changing this ISO. I think you should just replace her with somebody like Doc Ock. Putting Doc Ock in this position and swapping these two so that Doc Ock gives deflects to both of those guys, and then Sinister's spreading those deflects just like the evade that we talked about. I think it's a good mix there. So that's something to do with that team. But right now this strife is getting rolled over and this team isn't stopping anybody even at your level. So I'm gonna give you a B- for that. You're doing a lot of things right, but you got a long ways to go with strife. If you're serious about defense, you got to build him up to make this team work. And then pretty soon your alliance is going to get to a spot where you don't even want this team on defense. You're going to break them apart and use them for hybrid builds. Team number 9, Wave 1 Avengers. Hey, we got a winner. Look at that. We got oh, never mind. We're missing Thor. We're missing Thor. I kind of like her on her defensive team with She-Hulk. I think that team does okay. I think it's a good filler team. I think as long as you have a big She-Hulk, it can stop a lot of stuff. It can even trick people into some strange punch-ups that they end up failing if you don't know what you're doing. So get her on her own defensive team. Hulk to the outside, and then Captain America. That is technically the way you need to do it because Hulk taunts first and fast, and then he goes second. So yeah, just do that. Let's see. I like Black Widow in the middle, followed by Thor, followed by Hawkeye. And you do need to get Thor on this team. You don't want him on your Avengers. Hint, hint. Let's see. Striker, skirmisher, correct. Healer on her is a thing to do. I also like her as a skirmisher. Healer and healer is also acceptable on those two. Actually, I kind of like them. I kind of like both those guys as healers. They get sped up pretty fast on this team. So that's so yeah, the ISOs are good enough, but we just need to get her out in place of Thor as a raider. As is, this is a C. I'd like to see Thor in here, and I'd like to make sure that these guys are always 10% more powerful than the rest of the team. If you do that, you'll get an A. And moving on to team number 10. What do you know? There wasn't any foreshadowing in that one, was there? Okay, Asgardians. This is an automatic F. This team gets rolled over. It's a waste because Thor is so much better on the Asgardians. Loki on that New Warriors offensive team is fantastic. That's cutting edge stuff. I really like what he's doing there, how he manipulates that turn meter with Cloak and Deathpool. God, there's too many characters with similar names. And finally, we have Hela, which is great on the Hela Natural offensive team. That Supernatural is replacing the Elsa Bloodstone with Hela. Comes into the Wave 1 and is a great deterrent. And you kind of need her, especially now with the 10% bonuses to those war-ready characters. It's harder to stick those debuffs, and you need Hela there as a second chance of spreading the blinds. So definitely want to break this team up. It has so many counters, it's just no good anymore. These two characters on the outside, Sif and Heimdall, put them on the bench. Technically speaking, Sif should be either a raider or a healer. I don't like her as fortifier. She's really tanky, has a lot of block chance. She doesn't need that extra barrier. Heimdall should be a raider. He does lots of area of effect attacks. Loki should be a skirmisher. You want him to stick those negative effects. He has a very small health bar. This healer doesn't do much for you. Thor can be a striker for the added damage, but he can also be a raider for putting out more vulnerables for his team to work off. I prefer raider. You see a lot of people put him as striker just for the damage boost. I'm a big fan of vulnerables on the field. I like the added 10% chance that other people can work off of, plus when they double tap and stuff. Hela as a raider. Okay, so on the 5-piece, she 100% has to be a striker, but since we 100% don't want to use the 5-piece on defense anymore, she needs to be a raider. So you got that one right. That's about it. I hate this team. I hate seeing it on defense, and I don't want to see people making this mistake. Put Thor over on this Wave 1 Avengers back here. He's going to do very well there. Get her on the offense team, get him on the offense team, and put these guys on the bench. Oh, yeah, and change that to a skirmisher. Okay, this has been Apakakuta. I love that name, by the way. That's great. If you like what you saw, like, subscribe, look for the link in the description if you want your defense shown on Defense Up. Just find me on my Discord. If you're not using Discord, by the way, you are missing out on a big chunk of this game, and you should definitely get Discord, along with come find us on Twitch. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays 9 to noon. We do this stuff live, a lot of shenanigans, and a lot of people telling me just about how, many mistakes I make and stuff, because I make a lot of mistakes. All right, thanks for joining us. Don't just have a good game, be good to yourselves and each other too, and I'll see you next time. Bye.